Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the 2024 Veterans Day Crete Carrier Patriot Fleet ceremony. We're going to start the ceremony off today with a video. Wow, you guys have something to be excited about after seeing that video. Well, welcome everybody. I'm Tim Ashoff. I'm president of Crete Carrier. I'm happy to have you here at today's ceremony. I'd like to start off by first off saying thank you to all of our veterans that are a member of our team. We really appreciate your service. You have made our armed services the envy of the world, the best in the world. So thank you for your service there. I'd also like to thank any family members of service members, current service members or veterans. We know that being a member of the armed services takes a lot of support, and it also takes you away from your family members. So I'd also like to thank all those family members of veterans out there too for your support of your family members. You know, veterans started on November 11th, 1919. It was the one-year anniversary of the armistice, which was the ending of World War I. Of course, that was to be the war that ended all wars, but we know that has not been the case, unfortunately. And we had World War II, and then after World War II, President Eisenhower worked with Congress and said we need to recognize all the veterans. So we changed Armistice Day to Veterans Day in 1954, and President Eisenhower said, we did that in order to ensure proper and widespread observance of this anniversary and of all veterans organizations, and the entire citizenry, so all of us Americans, to wish to join in hands for that common purpose of recognizing your service. You know, here at Crete and Shaffer and Hunt, we have about 30% of our team members are veterans. And this day is to honor all of you. We want to thank you for your service, pay respect for that commitment you made, and to recognize the sacrifices you made at that point in your life. So we really do appreciate all your service. I think this year, Veterans Day is significant for me in two ways. One, you know, there's still two major wars going on out there in the world. Thankfully, we're not directly involved, but it just tells us yet how important our armed services are and the people that serve our country out there. We also have, you know, conflicts that could potentially arise with other countries such as North Korea and China. We hear about that. And when I think about that, I think about those common enemies we have out there and what do they have in common. One, they are the aggressors. You know, we have not been the aggressors. We have our armed service for peace. The other thing is, if you look at those four countries, none of them are democracies. So when you think back as to what our veterans have done and what they fought for, You fought for our freedom to have a democracy. You fought for peace and to maintain that democracy. And so we have to be aware that today we still have that fight going on out there. The second reason I think this Veterans Day is significant is because it's a presidential election year. And as we all know, the heart of a democracy is an election. And all of our veterans have given us that right. So our political parties can go out there and battle, our candidates couldn't go out there and battle, but then we vote. And we have that peaceful transition of power and have preserved that for centuries. So thank you to your service for helping us be the greatest democracy and continue to be the greatest country in the world. So in the United States, we have roughly 335 million citizens. Only about 1.3 of them are active service members, so less than 1/2% of us fellow citizens are service members. We do have about 850,000 in the reserves, so we have some support there. And of those 1.3 million service members, we still have 225,000 of our fellow citizens that are deployed overseas. So a lot of people in service, and while we're not actively engaged in a couple of those wars I just mentioned, we certainly have people that are either in harm's way or pretty close to being in harm's way. So we have to remember every day, we still have a lot of soldiers out there keeping us safe in many different ways each and every day. As you look at veterans, we have a little over 16 million veterans today. That's less than 7% of our overall population. Not that long ago, when you start to get my age, it doesn't seem that long ago, but in 1980, about 20% of our citizens were veterans. So we've gone from about 1 in 5 of our fellow citizens being veterans to about 1 in 14. So what I think that means for me is it's harder to relate. It's harder to remember. I mean, I remember growing up as a kid, you always knew a veteran. It seemed like you knew them all around. There are fewer and fewer of you each and every day, and maybe in some ways that's a good thing. That means we don't need as many soldiers out there to protect us, and maybe it means we haven't had as big a conflicts across the world in recent years, so that's great. One of the things I do remember as a kid too is I always remember seeing that bumper sticker. If you love your freedom, think of that. And today you don't see that as much as you used to. But that is one of the reasons why I'm so proud that here at Crete Carrier we have the Patriot Fleet. We started the Patriot Fleet back in 2012 just to kind of pick up maybe where some of society was leaving off in recognizing the service it takes to remain our great democracy, and really have that rolling bumper sticker in the trucks we have out there in the Patriot Fleet. And what was rewarding at lunch today, I had lunch with these 5 gentlemen, and I think it's working because a number of you already said, hey, I took a picture by my truck, I put it out there on social media, and man, it's getting out there across the world, across the country, across the world. People are seeing and recognizing the service of veterans because of seeing these trucks out there. So that's been a rewarding thing to see. One of the things, as you look a little bit further into detail of our veteran population today, less than 5% of living veterans were either in World War II or the Korean War. About a third of them were in the Vietnam War, but over half of our veterans today were service members that were in the First and Second Gulf Wars. And I think what is significant about that too is there hasn't been a draft in the United States since 1972, which means almost all of our veterans out there that are surviving today, or certainly the majority of them, freely signed up to serve our country, to go out there and fight for us. And that just says a lot to me about what people are willing to give and why today, we need to recognize all the veterans and current service members that are out there. So with that, I would like to say thank you to Marvin, Joseph, Joe, Charles, and Taylor for once again standing up to serve. Now, I said that to them at lunch today, and I said thank you for doing this, and they immediately reversed it and said, no, this is an honor for us to do this. We don't view it as service, we view it as an honor, and I think, again, that's just a testament of who our veterans are and how they view the world and how they're willing to give of themselves out there each and every day. I'd also like to thank all of our Crete, Shaffer and Hunt family members that are veterans for your service. Thank you for, again, doing everything you've done to keep our freedoms, not only in the military, but today, in keeping America moving. keeping American operating, keeping our great democracy and great economy going. So thank you. So with that, I'm now going to call up Isaac Phillips and Winston Ostergaard to introduce our newest Patriot truck drivers and turn over their keys. So Isaac, Winston.
Thanks, Tim. I'm Isaac Phillips from our Fleets office. That's Winston Ostergaard. It's always a privilege to announce our 5 recipients this year. Just like every year, couldn't be more proud of these 5 and what they've done for us. So I'll do the presentation, and Winston will do a formal presentation of the keys, and we'll do a photo as each of you get your keys up here up front today. So we'll start off with Joseph Miklichov. McClotchick. I told Joseph I was going to butcher that. Sorry. Joseph served 6 years in the Navy from 91 to 96 as a rescue swimmer who worked with the SEAL team and Special Ops. He spent time stationed in Norfolk, Virginia, and did several deployments from there. His family has a long history of military service. His great uncle served in World War II, who was a prisoner of war. Brother served in the Gulf War, and brother-in-law retired as a Navy Master Chief. Joseph has driven over 20 years and 1.5 million miles. He started with Crete Carrier 6 years ago in April of 2018, and earlier this year was awarded a 6-year Safe Driving Award. When he's not driving, he enjoys his favorite Houston teams, particularly the Texans and the Astros, and enjoys spending time with his dog, an Australian Shepherd. So, Joseph, congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you for this honor and privilege. Thanks a lot.
Next recipient's Marvin Brown. Marvin joined the Army 17 days after high school in 1979. He was active 4 years, stationed in Fairbanks, Alaska, and Fort Carson, Colorado. During that time, Marvin serves as a truck mechanic, generator mechanic, and a parts clerk. Upon completion of his active duty, Marvin joined the Colorado National Guard for an additional 19 years. Married 15 years to Pamela, they have recently purchased a house in Kansas. Between Marvin and Pamela, they have 3 children and 1 grandchild. In his spare time, Marvin is an avid bowler, bowls on leagues when he can in his home time. He received a CDL in July of '82 and has driven over 1.5 million miles. He's worked for several other companies before finding a home at Crete in May of 2020, where he works at the North Platte Dedicated Division. Thank you, Marvin, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you to Crete, and I think this is an honor to serve and do this. My military, it means a lot to me, and always will. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next recipient is Taylor Watson. Taylor joined the Air Force in 1977 and served 18 years. During his service, he stationed in South Korea and throughout the U.S., where he spent time as a Strategic Air Command. He was responsible for commanding and controlling the bomber and mission components for the U.S. military strategic nuclear forces. He retired in 1995. His proudest achievement is being part of the first ever combat evolution team, where he trained bomber crews on delivering weapons and assessing for accuracy in the nuclear war. He will always remember the great people he got to work with in the Air Force and became close friends with a lot of them. After retiring in 1995, he and his wife Linda and 3 children rented a truck, and that's where his passion with trucking began. He joined the Crete family in May of 2015 and loves to be able to drive all 48 states and feels that Crete takes good care of their drivers. He recently received his 8-year Safe Driving Award and surpassed over 3 million career miles. In his free time, when he has some, he likes to camp, explore, and relax in the countryside. Thank you, Taylor. Congratulations.
Thank you, Crete, for giving me the chance to represent
Schleboff. Charles joined the Marines shortly after high school in the fall of '84. Charles started boot camp at Paris Island, located in South Carolina. He was stationed in Cuba, Puerto Rico, Camp Lejeune, and after service, fortunately through a friend, was introduced to his wife, now Marie, in 1991. They were married in '93. 31 years later, they share 2 children, Cody and Patricia. Cody is currently in the Navy, stationed in Oklahoma, and Patricia served in the Navy, stationed in Japan. Charles and wife Marie now reside in Holiday, Tennessee, on their 12-acre hobby farm. Although they have no grandbabies, they have 36 goats. Marie calls them their babies. They have such a good relationship with the West Memphis terminal, they even named their latest goat after the admin down there, Candy. Charles seldomly goes home because when he goes home, it means working harder than he does at Crete. Charles enjoys working here, and Marie enjoys raising their little baby goats, specifically brush goats. Charles started at Crete in August of 2013. Earlier this year, he received his 7-year Safe Driving Award that has driven over 1.5 million career miles. Congratulations and thank you.
I'd like to thank the West Memphis Terminal, of course, for nominating me and giving me this honor, and Crete Carrier. Thank you.
Last but not least, Joe Bone. Joe served in the Army over 10 years, active from '81 to '90, National Guard '91-92, and Reserves '96 to '98. During that time, he spent 3 years in Germany and 1 year in Korea. While in Germany, he was chosen to qualify with the German Army, which was quite an honor. Towards the end of his service, he obtained his 88 Mike, which is a military operator's license, and then transitioned to drive commercially in 1992. Joe's been with Crete for 14 years and has driven over 3.5 million career miles. Earlier this year, he received a 12-year Safe Driving Award from Crete. When he isn't driving, he enjoys chauffeuring his wife Kim around town. They've been married 23 years, and she keeps him busy with the honey-do list. And Joe's also very active with his local church. So, thank you, Joe. Congratulations.
I want to thank Crete for this honor of representing the company as a Patriot truck driver. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we'll turn it back over to Tim for some closing remarks.
Thank you, Isaac. Thank you, Winston. First off, I'd also like to thank our communications team for putting on today's ceremony and the great job they do in getting our trucks prepared as well from a graphic standpoint. Also to our maintenance team for helping getting them ready for these fine drivers. You know, what a great stories. You know, we're proud of you, not only for being part of our Crete Shaffer Hunt family, but as I mentioned earlier, for your service to our country. I'd also like to thank Ton and Winston Ostergaard for their strong support of the Patriot Fleet over the years and their continued focus on family and on our company team members and supporting not only them but all of the United States. You know, in closing, on Veterans Day, there's always one quote I like, and maybe it's because it's from President Reagan, who I like very much as well. But in 1984, President Reagan, at a ceremony to thank veterans, said the following. Mr. Reagan said, "Veterans know better than anyone else the price of freedom, for they've suffered the scars of war. We can offer them no better tribute than to protect what they have won for us." So with that, I'd like to say thank you for protecting what your fellow veterans have won for us. And I would say, you know, in the spirit of President Reagan, we need to all remember to thank veterans when we see them, and to also protect who we are as a country. Appreciate all of you who went out to vote at this last election. That is so important. That is a great civic duty that we wouldn't have without the veterans out there who fought for us. So keep that in mind. 2 more years, you'll have to go out there and do that again. Congratulations to our new Patriot Fleet Drivers. Know that not only do you represent obviously the people in the room here, but all the other drivers out there that are veterans as well. A lot of them have their stickers on the truck. You see them as you go by. Thank you for making us proud. And I'd like to say to all of you out there, thank you to all the Crete Shaffer family members that are veterans. You know, because all of you, we keep America moving each and every day, and you do a great job. So thank you very much, and that concludes today's ceremony. Thank you, and be safe.